All right, Eternals. This movie was just so massive. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out a way. I've only seen it once, so it's kind of hard to recall it scene by scene at this point. But one way I figured I could go through and kind of give my thoughts on it is to talk about the characters. So first off, let me say, overall, I really enjoyed Eternals, and I went in kind of lowered expectations just because the ratings were coming back for this thing, and they were not looking great, especially for an MCU film. And I don't know if that's genuine. I think it probably is a good portion of it anyway, just because it's definitely a departure from what we're used to with the MCU films. But that's kind of what I loved about it, is that we got something different, something huge, something like it's playing in the same world, but it might as well be an entirely different universe. It might as well be happening completely outside. I mean, it basically is happening completely outside of the MCU that we know, these grounded stories, or even the cosmic stories that we've been told so far. This is like, oh, by the way, this other story happened, way before, alongside, and throughout the stories that you know. And that's a thing too. And it was like, I didn't know that I wanted that until I saw this movie. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a completely different world, but no, it's not. It's within the same world. And I didn't even realize I wanted that until I saw it. But it was refreshing. It was refreshing to meet all brand new characters. That's something we haven't had in a very long time. With the other MCU films, whenever there's a new character, they kind of blend in some of the other familiar characters to kind of ease you into a story or make it feel familiar or let you know that it's in the same universe. But this, they made a couple little references to, Thanos and the greater MCU, but at no point did the stories really intersect, and I thought that was great. I really did. And I feel like now I've got a new story to watch play out. And I'm sure going forward it will start to intertwine more and more. But what we got with this first film, this kind of world-building film, I really, really enjoyed it. All right, so now, before we get into specific character stuff, there were some things in this movie that, obviously people are going to argue about, right? There was this gay kiss that everyone made such a big deal out of, which it really wasn't even. Like, honestly, I thought more of a big deal was the completely hetero sex scene that happens. Because, there's a sex scene in an MCU film. Not an implied sex, not like, oh, these people had sex the night before, now they're waking up in bed together. No, and obviously there's no like legit nudity here, but they're naked, they're on top of each other, on the beach, writhing, humping each other. So it's like, man, I was really blown away by that, and I was kind of like glad that I didn't take my kids, not because I think that that's like inappropriate per se, but just it's a little uncomfortable sometimes, when you got like preteen to teenage kids. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, that would have me feeling way more uncomfortable than the quick gay smooch that they threw into this film. None of that stuff bothered me. It reflects real life. So, why not? It's kind of strange that it hasn't been in any of these mainstream films thus far. So, anyway, outside of that, I loved a lot of the characters, but there are some that really stood out to me. Obviously, Icarus was, I feel like, perfectly cast. And he just, it was such a badass character. It really was. And I like the twists and turns that they took in the film, where things on several occasions don't turn out to be what you were told that it was, or what the other characters may think is going on is not really what's going on. I liked that. I think it would have been quite boring if it was just the story that they presented originally. I liked the twist. I will say, though, the main female lead in this, Cersei, I feel like was kind of bland, just in the sense that, like, it was a plain character. Nothing, and I don't know if that's casting or if that's just the writing of the character, but I feel like anyone could have played this character. There was nothing super special about the character that made the character stand out. And yeah, I feel like you could have stuck just about anybody in there. The actress didn't necessarily bring any special charisma to this role, and maybe there was none to be had. I don't know, but was not my favorite character. Definitely, obviously, it's like a part of the main storyline. I did not mind the love story. I've heard some people complain about, like, all the love story stuff in this, and like that, I don't mind at all. I kind of liked that idea that Cersei and Icarus have this thousands of years worth of love life shared with each other, and then, like, this kind of like a falling out, I guess, or a separation. And I loved that little kind of backstory. I felt like it brought a little more to the story and the characters. But I just felt like the lead role, the lead character in the film, I wasn't blown away by. But this takes nothing away from the film. Like I said, I don't know if it needed to be this super crazy charismatic character, but it just wasn't, But there were so many other great characters that I didn't really mind it. The story still moved along with her just fine, and that's kind of what I meant. She wasn't bad. She wasn't bad at all. She just was all right. She just played the part, and it was fine. It wasn't bad acting by any means. It was just not anything that blew me away. All right. Other characters here I want to dig into. Thena, obviously. Great character. Angelina Jolie just rocked this film. I thought, and I actually thought she would play a much more of a pivotal central role than she did. And I was kind of surprised that she wasn't, she was a main character for sure, and her arc mattered in the story overall. And I found it really interesting. I actually liked that arc of, like, her memories becoming so overwhelming from living for so long, and this, I don't remember what they called it in the film, but this thing setting in, this, like, brain disease basically setting in. And I found that really cool. I liked that storyline a lot. I was very surprised that, the Black Knight, Kit Harington, did not play a major role in this film. They build it like he would. They made it seem like he was a major part of this film, and I get it. He's a big star, from Game of Thrones, and it was kind of neat and weird at the same time to have him interacting with another character named Cersei again. It was just kind of like, oh, that feels familiar. But yeah, kind of surprised that he takes a back seat. Obviously, he's going to be a character going forward. I was kind of wondering anyway how they're going to work the Black Knight into this story. Didn't make any sense. And now we kind of know why. He's, like, barely loosely connected to this Eternal story, but has some other storyline coming down the pike. So, for what he did, he was fine. He was great. One character I was not a huge fan of is Sprite. I liked the arc, but once again, I don't know if I like the actress portraying the role. I really like the arc, though. I like the idea of someone who is an old soul but stuck in a child's body, and just like how tormenting that would be, and to be in love with someone who's presented as a full-grown human being, and you're a child, and you can never be with them in that way, at least not without it being very strange and possibly inappropriate. But I don't know, something about the portrayal of the character I didn't love. I didn't like her, and not just because she ends up being, a turncoat at the end and kind of like, going against our main protagonist. But I don't know, just not my favorite. I enjoyed Gilgamesh, great character, funny character, not a huge pivotal role or anything, but it was an entertaining character. Something I was really impressed by was Kumail Nanjiani, who played, what's his name, Kinjo. That dude, not only was he really funny, and so was his compatriot Karun in the film. That was definitely the comedy beats of the film was all between those two. I didn't find much else in the film super humorous. They were the comic relief 100%, and they did it very well, especially Karun. Great character, great little side character. I loved him. But Kumail was jacked. He was jacked in this. I was not expecting this at all. I've seen him in other things. I saw him in the Twilight Zone, in the first episode of the Twilight Zone, the reboot, where he's a comedian, naturally. And when I heard that he was casting this, I'm like, okay, he can get into shape or whatever. But dude got jacked. He got on some go juice for sure. That dude was so jacked. I was like, what? And they don't even show. It's not like he's shirtless or anything. It's not like he needed to get super jacked, but he was. You can just see his arms, and you're like, holy crap, this dude's stacked. But yeah, great character. Fastos, another great character. I enjoyed this idea that he had created a family, basically embraced this kind of human life, and he had at first given up on humans, and I like that, and then kind of found meaning and love again, by observing humans, and then adopting a child and falling in love, and deciding that he wanted to fight for this human race, for this planet. I thought that was a great arc for that character. But I've got to say, I think my favorite character in this, and I know I'm skipping over some characters here, I don't want to run on forever, but I think my favorite character in the entire film is Druid. Druid was such a great character, and I want to see more Druid. I loved his delivery. I loved just his kind of like, it was like cynical but like nonchalant. I just loved the way he presented himself, and I loved his mannerisms and his power set also. Very, very cool. I love this character, and I love the actor who's portraying him. I just thought everything about this character in this film was the best for me. My favorite thing about the film is Druid. And he's not even, like I said, he's a major character. It's a major role for sure, but it's not your main protagonist. It's not Gemma Chan. It's not Salma Hayek. It's not Richard Madden. But I felt like such a cool character and such a great job by Barry Keoghan. I thought he did such an amazing job as Druid, and I cannot wait to see more of that character. I hope we get some interesting stories. I'd like to see something where he takes a more central role in the story. All right. like I said, I don't want to drone on forever about this. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. I really enjoyed the film, much more than I imagined I would. And that's something great about the last few MCU films I've seen. Black Widow really surprised me with how much I enjoyed that film. And Shang-Chi was good. Shang-Chi. It was good. I didn't think it didn't blow me away, but it was an interesting and fun new story. And Eternals, I was pleasantly surprised by this story, and I can't wait to watch it again. Some really great characters come out of it. Some I don't care that much for. I don't care what happens going forward with those characters individually, but some that I really want to see more from. So those are my overall thoughts. Love the film. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Who is your favorite Eternal? Let me know in the comments below. Or if you're listening to this in podcast form, you can hit me up on Twitter at RealBrettScott and let me know over there. Thank you for listening. And if you enjoy this sort of thing, here's what I do on this channel. Every day, I try to do it every day. I'm not perfect, but most days, I like to come on here and talk about something I enjoy. And most of the time, it's entertainment or pop culture. But every once in a while, it's other things like stories from my questionable youth. Sometimes I like to tell those because I find them entertaining and hopefully other people do too. So if you're interested in that and getting something new and interesting in your feed just about every day, then please subscribe to the channel or favorite or follow the podcast. And if you decide to stick around, then I will talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks.